Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's play some Songs of Syx, shall we? Continuing our guide for complete beginners. And we are doing okay at the moment, right? Our happiness is very, very high for our Cretonian population, and we can actually recruit another one. I'm going to click on it, right-click on them, and it looks like there's two that want to move in, so I will authorize both of these, but that will take us down to 0 total housing. You can see here, we've just authorized it, so this hasn't updated yet, but we have space for 2. And our population is 18. We have 2 longhouses, which hold 10. So we can move up to 20 total population. Now, I'm doing that because I have 5 odd jobbers, but I have a lot of jobs that I want to get going. Now, remember, whenever you want to bring people in, you always got to watch your food situation. Now, we do have 12 days of food, and we are actually producing more food than we consume, so that's good. But what I want to show you then is a situation that we haven't discussed yet, but this is a great part of the game in terms of management, which is I'm trying to build a market and I'm trying to build a lavatory, and they're both waiting on furniture. So I could sit here and just hope that these jobs get completed properly, one and then the other, but the game doesn't always work like that. And what we're going to need to do is suspend one of these jobs. So at this point, the lavatory looks like it has 5 out of 8 furniture, and it will get done first because it has more of the furniture than it needs. So I'm going to actually suspend this market for the time being so that all of our available odd jobbers will focus on building the lavatory and finishing that job. So one of the great things about Songs of Syx is that you can queue up a bunch of jobs, but one of the bad things is it's hard to set priorities for what you want your population to be working on. In my experience, generally they work on the last task that you gave them first, and then it's also based on proximity to their living space and materials that you have and things like that. So we need to suspend jobs, but then up here, if we look again, there's no point to letting the lavatory go because we need to actually finish the expansion of the carpenter because we're not going to get any furniture until this is done. So we're going to click on the settings button, the gear, and then right here you see the ZZZ. This is suspend jobs, and I'm just going to click right here. You see how when I mouse over the job for the market stall, it turns green, and I click on it, and now it's grayed out. And then this job right here, this interior job of the lavatory, I'm going to click on that, and now they're both grayed out. I'm going to right click to cancel that, and then now if I push 2 and 3, it moves the population up. You'll see we go down to 0 total housing, and we've taken a hit on happiness because immigration always hurts people. Don't like immigrants. It makes them wary that they don't have enough supplies, and it reflects just the general societal suspicion and animosity there seems to be for no real good reason, at least in my opinion, about immigrants. When they're coming to work and help out, it seems good. But anyway, that's how it works in this game. You take a hit, but that should stabilize, and we should be able to fix that. Now, another way you can make people happy is to fill up the food supply, and that's certainly something that we're going to try to do, especially with our bakery here. And you could see that this grain farm is going to yield a ton of grain when we get the opportunity for that to happen. But right now, I'm going to speed it up so that they will finish this job of the carpenter. So the odd jobbers should be going to task right there and doing that particular job because we have made it a job that is available, but you're noticing like they're not doing that. So why aren't they doing that? Well, they need to carry over the stone, and sometimes what you can do is you can look around and be like, okay, well, where are my odd jobbers? So this person is working on the vegetable farm. That's okay. we are in day 1 of autumn. So it's very possible that my workers were out and were busy foraging at the last day of summer, and then they're not back from doing that yet. So let's see if they will actually get on that task. We can look at our workforce right here by clicking on the hammer button, the workforce, and see, okay, so 8 are at agriculture, 2 are at work, 3 are on the grain farm, 1 on the vegetable farm, 4 on the auroch pasture, and then the rest are odd jobbers. Now, I'm actually going to pause it to talk about this. I had mentioned this before. I think I may have explained this in a previous entry in this series, but just to talk through it. As I'm, observing the labor, and you could see they've actually cleared the entire way. They're now just trying to move over the supplies. We have 80 stone stored up, so this isn't an issue, and we have plenty of wood stored up. So the odd jobbers should be getting on this task. But a lot of them are relaxing, and sometimes it is the case that it's like, this job, we want it to be done, but the issue is that not everybody can work on it at the same time, if that makes any sense. So what we can do is I'm going to auto-employ my warehouse so that if we have a higher demand, it will pull that from our pool. But I'm going to go back to the screen I was talking about. Click workforce and click priority. Then we're going to click Crotonians right here at the top, so you can see all the different population. The only one that's illuminated is Crotonians for us because that's all we have. And this is the screen where you can really see how much fulfillment people get from a job and how good they are at the job. So the more hammers and the brighter the intensity of green, then the better they are at the job. And the more up arrows, the more fulfillment that they get from the job. Now, Crotonians, you could see, like for the most part, a lot of their jobs, they get a lot of fulfillment and they're very good at these. Now, these are agricultural jobs. If we click on work or we click on service or we click on government, you could see like the different levels here, but they're great doing agricultural stuff, which is most of what we have. Now, you can adjust the priorities here and mess with these sliders if you want, but you can also click on this button to make them prioritize skill. The heart is prioritize fulfillment, and then this is just set them all to default. I haven't messed with this at all, and I don't recommend really tinkering with it too much as a new player, but it's good to know where that information is. Now I'm going to go ahead and speed this up and say, okay, these guys are all just chilling, so that means that we can give them a job to do. And here is a job that we need to do. We're building a market, we are building a lavatory, and we're working on extending the carpenter. Okay, this is all good, but what about throwing another house together? I'm just going to control left click this longhouse, and I'm going to build it attached to this existing house. And I'm just going to kind of rotate it around so that the door is, well, it's going to make it exactly where the door is there, which is okay, I guess. But instead, I'm going to put it like right here. And then I'm going to control click the road and, just kind of put this road going over here and build a road right along the farm right there, like so. Okay. Actually, let me see this with my overlay. Yeah, we're doing okay, but it might be good to have a road that goes right along there. Okay. So now all these odd jobbers you will see, if I speed it up, they will spring into action in a moment and start helping out. Now, we've got more than one working on this, which is good. Okay. Push M to bring up the mini-map. Just watch where my workers are. And a lot of the odd jobbers are still, relaxing. So, relaxation is fine, but let's go, people. You want another job? I'll give you another job. I'm going to go down to service, and I'm going to go to entertainment, and we're going to build ourselves a speaker. So a speaker is a great source of entertainment. Kind of imagine that they just yell out the news of the day, and so I'm going to put it right here, and I'm just going to put here. It's also kind of like, maybe imagine a theater where somebody's performing, but usually I think it's just news, like they're just hollering out the news, because you can build a theater later, which is a better form of entertainment. And we're getting done with the carpenter. They're bringing the supplies over. Soon enough, that will be done. Okay. So now people are working. And the bakery is still producing food, which is great. Workload 78%, that's fine. I mean, we're going to get a nice harvest of grain, which will turn into, hopefully, a ton of food for us. Okay. Now, I'm going to pause it. We can bring in more Cretonians, but they'll be homeless until we finish the house, so I'm going to hold off on that. We also are able, if we want, to bring in Dondorians, humans, and I think that's a worthwhile idea, but I'm going to wait just a bit for that. However, it is, we need to build houses before we bring anybody else in. It is definitely something we're going to do. Now, if I look at my map, it doesn't look like I have any mountains on this map. I don't. So the Dondorians, they like to live in the mountain. We don't have that, but we can make do. Even if they're going to be unhappy because they don't live in the preferred environment of the mountain, you can make up for it with services to provide enough fun for everybody to overcome, certain things that they don't like. And the more technology you get, the easier it is to mitigate their, unhappiness at certain elements, whether it be like different population types different species they don't want to live with, or you don't have their preferred food, or the buildings aren't what they like, they're not doing a job that they like, all of these things. Usually you can mitigate these. Okay, now look at this. We built a speaker. So it immediately employed someone to be the speaker, and you can click on the speaker. You can kind of see some information about it. And okay. No, this is okay. There's only one speaker working, which is normal. But you could see it's providing services, and 100 subjects can be served at a radius of 100. So this has a huge radius, so all of these people in this house can come see this, and everybody loves this. However, wait a minute. I just went down to no odd jobbers, and that's because they finally finished the carpenter. Okay. So I was like, why do I have no odd jobbers? That's because we absorbed one worker to be the speaker, and then now that the carpenter's back on, 4 people went to work here to to start making furniture, which is good. We want this. We can actually have more than this here working, but for now, we're going to just stick with this. And I'm going to actually double click and bring in 2 more Kryptonians. And that means 2 people are homeless, which is not ideal, but those odd jobbers can finish this house and those people will be okay. I don't mind having people homeless just for a little bit. It'll get us out of a jam. But hopefully then what can happen is workload is low, but you could see that they're pulling stuff off right now. And we are producing food such that we still produce more than we consume, which is amazing. And we have plenty of chests left available to put goods into if we had goods that we were worried about not getting put away, but we're okay. And look at this. We're already getting grain. We're already getting leather. I'm going to slow it down. Our pasture right here has 11 out of 17 animals, so we have plenty of space for animals. And you can see that we are producing food and skin and trying to keep the animals, so that they basically are self-perpetuating and we have a full auroch pasture. Let's see here. If I click on this, and you can see, look at our happiness and loyalty is super high. And this is all the blue bars indicate that we're making really good progress here. If we click on access, you could see that we're losing a little bit here because our food is going down, but we are giving them the food that they like, which is bread. Services, we now have a speaker, we have a food stall, and we have a well. Now these numbers, this loyalty, this happiness, these are very high numbers. Usually you're in the 70s or the 80s and you're happy about it. It's very hard to get this high, but because we only have one population type, it's easier to raise this, but we're going to change that in a bit. Part of the reason is because of the labor. It's more interesting to have a diverse population, but also humans and Dondorians are good at things that Kryptonians aren't as good at. And that way we can have better people making furniture or mining for ore, things like that. Alright, so I'm going to speed it up, and I can bring in some more Kryptonians, and I bring in another one, even though they'll be homeless, just to finish this job up. Alright. Looking good there. You can see we're filling up on grain that we're pulling off of the field here. And we are in day 2 of autumn. I'm going to speed it up so we can finish this house. I'm going to bring in more Kryptonians. And we have 1 furniture, 2 furniture stored. Let's finish this house up. Bring in another Kryptonian. And we did it. So now that we have 25 population, we boost happiness, and we boost immigration, and we unlock the Lavatory, which is an incredibly important structure that allows us to start generating research and science so that we can get new technologies, basically. Let's just finish this up, though. You got to finish this house. We have too many homeless people. Almost done. They did it. All right, now we have space for 5 more. And I'm immediately going to pull in another one. Now, let's talk about where's our food, though. We're still positive on food. Not by a ton, but by some. And we have more grain than we are storing right now. So we're going to go right here, and we're going to push up the amount of grain that we're storing in our warehouse. We don't want the grain to sit on the field and rot, so we're going to allow ourselves to store more grain. And we want to turn this into food at the bakery eventually. But you could see our bakery is small. So this is something that happens when you start in this game, and it's better to start small and then to build up, in my opinion. So even though our bakery is kind of small, it's still providing enough food for us right here. And we have so much grain to turn into food that we're doing beautifully. I'm going to bring in fact, another Crotonian. So I have 3 furniture, but I'm going to start pulling in... okay, it went all the way up to 6. Great. So now we're employing 6 workers here, and we're producing 2.8 furniture, which is good. Our workload is incredibly high, which is not great, but there's nothing we could do about that because we need furniture. In the game, I mean, we can make this furniture, this carpenter place, bigger. In the early game, you're going to need so much furniture, it will absolutely, kind of boggle the mind. I'm going to, click on the gear again, and then we're going to click Activate Job, which is to the left of Suspend Job. And we're going to click on this right here, and it should turn this back on for us. And we have 1 janitor at the moment. And we could have more, but, we have this automated. You could see the workload, so 1 janitor is just fine. So we're going to turn back on the lavatory. Now, while that's going, let's look at some other jobs that we can employ. All right, so we can make, for example, a woodcutter. A woodcutter will just produce wood for you. And this is great in the sense that a lot of our buildings just require wood all the time. So, for example, the bakery takes wood, and, well, yes, of course, the carpenter takes wood. In fact, you can click on a resource like wood. Oops. Well, you can click on this screen. It's a more detailed breakdown, but just mouse over it. And it will tell you right now what is using this resource and what your net is. We're net minus 11. So we're using a lot of wood. Now, we could just tell people to chop down trees. That's fine. But also what we can do is we can go ahead and build a woodcutter. So we can go to work, and we can go to woodcutter, and we could build a woodcutter right over here if we want. Now, woodcutters need to be built on trees. However, woodcutters do make noise. So I'm going to build, actually, our woodcutter. Let's just put them over here for now. Okay, and that would take 5 workers, and we can build some storage over here, and we can build some auxiliaries to get up to 100%. And unfortunately, these take a lot of furniture to, you can see how much furniture this is going to take to get to 100% at this woodcutter. I'm just putting all the auxiliaries down here at the bottom. And 100%. So this is going to take 26 furniture, 26 stone. So I'm going to put a check mark on that, but then I'm immediately going to go and suspend this job because I don't want to build it right now. Need more furniture first. Alright, so let's speed it up. And hopefully the lavatory is getting done. It is. And they're clearing it. They've got all of the stuff here. And it's done. I'm going to slow it. Look at this. This lavatory is now done. Now, it does need a plumber to work here. They'll get that person employed very soon. And now they even have yet more services. So what this is doing is making everyone happier. It increases our opportunity to get more population, and we'll take it. Tremendous. Okay. So we use all of our furniture to make this, and we can turn the market on. Oops. I always want to just click on that instead of go here and then activate the job. And I will do this. It's going to use all of our furniture to turn that on, but that's okay. Also going to go ahead and make another house. I wish I could make it here. What I can do, though, is I could just make this a house like this so it will fit here. This is kind of a funny thing to do, but at the same time, it's okay. I'll make a house right there. Smaller house. So it'll fit where our road is right there. And I'm going to click away. Perfect. All right. So I'm happy with, if I click on this, our consumption and production rate is pretty good, but we might want more food. Now, another thing you can do to get more food is to build a hunter. And a hunter will just gather passive meat for you. And, you think, well, we've got Kryptonians, like, why would they want this? And that's a good point. Like, why would they want that, right? However, what resource is that right by us? Is this stone? Is that what this is? Yeah, stone. Okay. I just right-clicked, by the way, to turn on the inspector to see what this is, and it's stone. Also, if you zoom in, you could see it's pictures of little stones there. That's stone. The Kryptonians don't like meat, but they'll eat it. But also, other species will eat it too. So it's just a way to get some passive food coming in if you want. But we can also build a fishery. And you can see, like, the hammer's like, who's good at a fishery? Are Kryptonians good at a fishery? Not really. They're okay. Are they good at hunting? Not really. They're okay. But again, those are ways to just bring in food. Now, the better way is most probably to just expand our bakery, which we will. But you want to do that after you've secured a ton of food. Now, this house right here, let's wait until it gets finished. Okay. Now, another thing you can do is you can assign a house. And so you can, for example, have this house, and you could say, you know what? The only people that can live here are not Kryptonians. And you can just say, this is no Kryptonian house. So I just basically clicked on the Kryptonian symbol, and then I clicked on this house, and you could see that it gets this, like, anti-Kryptonian symbol through it. And I'm only doing this because I have plenty of houses for the Kryptonians. Somebody wanted to spread out here. But the reason I did this is so I can bring in some humans. I'm just going to double-click human, and now we have our first human in our town. And they will come live in this house. Now, if you have more needs, you can assign it just specifically for humans. But remember that species will only live in a house that is, I'm going to bring in another Kryptonian, occupied by that species. So I'm going to do this, and eventually the humans should come live in this house. They haven't moved in yet, but they will. All of these houses are filled. We need to build another house for more Kryptonians. And I'll kind of just put 2 houses right there. And we'll build a road that goes right along the bottom over here, like so. Perfect. All right. So we have built a lavatory. We built a speaker. We have our first human in the settlement. We finished building our carpenter. We talked about suspending jobs, and we gathered our first harvest off of our grain field, and now we have a ton of food coming in. We have 10 odd jobbers, and we also got up to the next rank. Now that rank is going to be, what we're going to do is build a laboratory, but in order to build a laboratory, we really need a lot of furniture, which we do not have at the moment. And we need to make sure that we get some more furniture, so we're going to wait until that happens. Let's see. Once we get more furniture, like we finish the market, we get a lot of furniture, then we can build a laboratory and start generating some technology, like, so we can kind of we generate knowledge at the laboratory that we can spend at the tech tree here to unlock some techs. We'll talk about which ones to go for, but we'll get into that next time. We are doing really well. We don't want to build too fast, but we did rank ourselves up. Make sure we keep this production up, keep our happiness up. Everyone, I hope you're still finding this series to be useful and fun, and I will check you in the next episode. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.